Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of Undisputed. Talking about OBJ. Honestly, he's kind of been a forgotten soul these past, years, honestly. Apparently it was reported that he might go to the Jets, and now it's, he, visited the Miami Dolphins, and, the real question is where would he be a good fit, if anywhere, quite honestly. I think one of the most dangerous things you can have is an aging past his prime diva wide receiver, like an OBJ, AB, those types of players, because they cause more trouble than they're worth. And the upside is always has been historically virtually like nothing. What did OBJ do to help the Ravens, get to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl? Nothing. So it's just, I just don't know. The only way it works is if he comes in with a true alpha head coach, a true established alpha quarterback, and the locker room is tight, and and the culture is good, so like if this was like obviously like the Chiefs, the Rams, the 49ers, maybe not the Eagles this year, but the Eagles a couple years ago, teams of that nature that have this very solid tight-knit culture where the coaches, everyone knows that is the coach, that is man. Everyone knows this is the quarterback. Like there's just, there is no question mark around these things. Because, outside of that, I just don't know. Right. And it's why AB worked with Tom Brady, near the end. And even then at the very end, it stopped working, but AB is, on a different level in terms of personality than OBJ. But, still a flavor of an ice cream. So let's take a listen to see what these guys have to say, and we can break it down further from there.
Next season, the best fit
for him and them.
I know. I'm just trying to think, because the Miami situation is interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're a third guy, you're a veteran. You can give them some little inside. You can play outside, but they got Tyreek Hill, so the majority of the balls are going to go to Tyreek Hill. And then you got Jalen Waddle as the second guy in line. You're the third guy, but how much action are you really going to see? And in this day and age in his career, what is he looking for? Are you looking to win another Super Bowl?
Or are you
trying to get the most money out of whoever you can get it from?
Yep.
I like the Dallas Cowboys in this situation for him, Skip.
Oh,
they
gosh,
visited him a couple years ago. He wasn't ready to play. Now maybe they revisit it again now that they got rid of Michael Gallup. Maybe they say, okay, maybe he wants less than the $15 million. Maybe we can pick him up for, a little bit more than a veteran minimum type situation. Maybe that's a good fit for him. The New York Jets, even though they went and got Mike Williams, he's a different receiver than Mike Williams.
But that doesn't make sense, because if you're going to take the league minimum, right, then why are you going to the Dallas Cowboys? Like, if you're going to take the league minimum, then go to a place where that there's the chance that you're going to get a lot of touches, a lot of targets, and a lot of action. And that could be technically a handful of teams, because he still is OBJ to a degree. But then if you're looking to win and you're willing to take the league minimum, go to Andy Reid, go to the 49ers, go to these teams that are, either winning or right there. And you could be like, listen, I'll take the league minimum. I don't care. You can put me in. I understand I'm going to be the third receiver, whatever. Debo goes down a lot, some opportunity for me to step up. If that's the case, then that's what you would do. So I don't understand, if you're going to take the league minimum, why are you going to the Cowboys? That actually confuses me, unless he thinks that that's like a happy medium between a chance to win, but then also targets, because they only have, I guess, so many wide receiving options there. I don't know. It's weird, though.
And him and Aaron Rodgers has a relationship. They have a connection. And he can also go over there and be somewhat of a mentor to a degree to Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams, who, you know, so those three to
You don't
me
need OBJ to be your mentor.
probably
That's just silly.
make the most sense, I would think. It just depends on what it is that he really, truly wants out of this situation. Do we want to play with a Hall of Fame fire quarterback in Aaron Rodgers? Do we want to play in a palace and all the hype machine around the Dallas Cowboys? Or does he want to go to a no-tax state in Florida? So all those decisions have got to be made.
Point. Yeah.
All those decisions have got to be made.
I got it in my head that Odell belonged with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. He's a New York kind of guy or an LA kind of guy. So he got his ring in LA. And it just felt like he would go back to New York where he started with the Giants and would be a good fit on a star-studded team that is loading up to win now. Mm-hmm. And they have made a lot of nice moves. You made the case that the AFC is still so loaded with quarterbacks. All the top quarterbacks seem to be on that side of the ledger, not the NFC side. But I like what the Jets are doing because I love Tyron Smith, who's no longer a Dallas Cowboy, to protect Aaron's blind side for the next year or two. And they have shored up that offensive line because they stole 2 starters via free agency from Lamar in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So Aaron's going to get protected. He's 40 years of age. So it's a win now, window starting to close situation that still suits Odell, but you hit the magic question for how much? Because Baltimore gave him $16 million last year, and I don't think they thought they got enough bang for their buck. Or they would have jumped all over him to keep him there because I think everybody liked him. I think Lamar loved him. And yet I look at the productivity, and it's pretty meager. And then we hit the postseason against Houston. He got 1 target and caught 1 ball for 12 yards. And then in the AFC Championship game, remember the third quarter, Lamar tried him twice in a row deep and couldn't connect with him. So he threw him 6 balls and he caught 3 for 22. And it just wasn't good enough to measure up to $16 million.
And that was the point that I was trying to make earlier. You know, it's not to say that he was a total nothingness, but, you know, I'd rather not pay that money to him, and I'd rather just draft a rookie. Honestly, you're just better off doing a lot of different things rather than that. I think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets actually does make a decent amount of sense, but the issue is with the Jets is that they keep signing players that are kind of injury prone, that have this injury history. So the Jets can really just get killed with injuries. I mean, they really could. And so, yes, they're getting a lot of these, you know, the Jets are setting themselves up for this all in 1 year. Let's go, you know, and it could really work if everyone is able to stay healthy, or, you know, they get some of these cluster injuries, and then it's just like, well, you know, you just can't come back from that. And now if you add Odell, you're pretty much adding another older injured type player. But I think Aaron would be, you know, because Aaron is the alpha, Aaron is the man, and so, you know, I think that would keep Odell under rep. And I don't want to paint the picture that I think Odell, you know, this is like, you know, 5 years ago or however many years ago, where Odell is, you know, what he was before, where he's like next level diva. Like, he has technically taken, you know, that down a notch, and people do like him in the locker room. It's just players do get weird when they know the end is near. I mean, we've just seen it so many times. We've seen it again and again and again. And it's just, you know, and the Ravens have a great culture. So, and Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh, like, so they're also able to kind of contain that. I don't know if Miami has that. You know, I don't know. My guess is not, honestly, because they're not really that established. They don't have a long-time quarterback. They don't have a long-time head coach. There's already debate right now about whether or not getting rid of Tua is the right move for Miami, you know? So I just think that Odell needs to be in a very high functioning organization. And that's why he was able to have instant success with the Rams and with Sean McVay, you know, with Matthew Stafford. He failed and floundered in, you know, Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. It was too messy of a situation. Same thing with New York. It was too messy and unorganized of a situation, and he failed there. I mean, I know he had his numbers and was successful individually like that, but personality-wise, culturally, like all of that was not working, was not successful. And so, again, he needs to, you look at Odell, and again, this is not as super as relevant because he's just no longer of that level of skill set, but he's kind of like a super boy genius, but he needs a good supervisor. He needs a good boss. He can do amazing mathematical equations, but he can't just do it on his own because then he's just scribbling all over the place. And he needs someone to be like, whoa, you're really good, but like we need to keep you organized here. Otherwise you're just going off the rails here. And that's how a lot of people work. A lot of super geniuses out there, they can't start their own company. They can't do their own startup. And a lot of times when they make a lot of money, they end up losing it all because they try to invest, they try to start business and start companies, and they can't. And they can't be the CEO. They can be an amazing, brilliant engineer, but they can't be the CEO, the COO, the CFO. They're not like that. And to me, that is where Odell is. He is a great football player, although, after his first few years, he was never really able to recapture that, quite honestly, which, is okay. He obviously got injured, and then he floated around with again, Baker Mayfield and weird coaching. It's just weird situation in Cleveland in general. And even honestly, even in New York was never obviously that ideal of a situation. He never really got to be in his prime, in a prime offense with a prime quarterback. But, that's easier said than done. And so I am sympathetic to that. But again, at this point in your career, and I think that's what Keyshawn is talking about, because it's like, well, what does he want? Is he trying to get another 12, 14, $15 million contract? Does he think he's worth more than that? Does he think that he can get more than that? Is he willing to take very little? And if he's willing to take little, is it because he just wants to play and he's like, man, I know I'm near the end. I know I already got my ring. I don't have that dying urge to get another ring. I just want targets, man. I just get me the ball 6 times a game, something. Let me just run around the field. I want to do it. Or is it that he does want another ring, right? He wants to be 2-time Super Bowl winning, OBJ. I don't know. And I haven't heard any reports. I don't think anyone really knows. I don't know if you're going to Miami because you think you're going to win the Super Bowl. Honestly, I mean, like, if he is ring chasing, I have to imagine there's a scenario where, he would be able to find himself on maybe the Kansas City Chiefs or the 49ers, or heck, even the Eagles, or maybe the Bengals, or CJ Stroud and the Texans. Like, I wonder how coaches and GMs at this point view him, because he wasn't like a failure with the Ravens in terms, at least personality wise. Maybe production wasn't the massive success, but again, if you're talking about like a league minimum, it's kind of like, yeah, we'll take you. I feel like, that's always those possibilities. But if you are bouncing around between Miami or New York, that doesn't scream to me. I don't know what that says to me, honestly. I mean, if you guys know, because that's not screaming, I'm here to win a Super Bowl, because I just don't think you're going to Miami because you think that's the best place where you can win another Super Bowl. I just don't see that being the case, as well as, or New York for that matter. I mean, I think New York will be competitive this coming season, but it's still, it's not like a shoe-in here where some of these other teams that I mentioned, they are consistently right there. And again, the same thing with, if he's looking for more of a lifestyle, right? Because then it is Miami, wants the warm weather, wants to maybe make a little bit more money, while he's down there, can get some touches. Tua can at least throw the ball, and the coach knows how to, run an offense. So it's like a decent situation where he can like get some balls. And again, Tyreek is also sometimes banged up, or at least down for plays, so it's opportunities for him to potentially, kind of step in and get some extra targets. I think it's always hard to predict in this way because you just don't know. But, listen, he's been on 3 teams in, 3 years. That's never really the best situation, It's just not. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what he does. I know my team, I'm not dying to get an OBJ personally, but that's just me, because I just think I'm just not entirely sure what he really truly brings to a team that is trying to win a championship at this point. And if you have, a young team and maybe you don't have championship aspirations, I don't know why you need to bring OBJ into your locker room. So I just don't know what you're necessarily looking for. The more I think about it, really the only true situation that I could see is maybe the New York Jets. And again, if say like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes said like, yeah, you know what, we can kick the tires on OBJ. That sounds fun. As long as he understands that he is not the top dog, as long as he falls in lines and understands, that I just need him to be able to catch the ball when I throw it to him, and I'm going to throw him the ball like once or twice a game, and like that's about it. And you better be okay with it, and you better be excited and, slapping everyone's butt and shaking each other's hand and, cheering everyone on, like if that's the case, we can go make magic. But again, since OBJ already has his ring, I'm just not so sure that he's going to be like, yeah, I want to play in KC. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting situation, but I also feel like OBJ still thinks he's great and thinks that he can ball out, and that he can get, 10, 15 touchdowns, right? 1,000 yards. Like I really believe he believes that. So it wouldn't be surprised to me that he is, quarterback and offense, seeking, where he's like, okay, I can get my numbers. I can get, if you throw me the ball, I will catch the ball. If you feature me, I can be a integral part of an offense. Let's go. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of variables here to kind of figure out, but interesting nonetheless. But those are just my views. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Where do you think OBJ should go? Do you think it should be the Jets? Should it be the Miami Dolphins or anywhere else? Let me know in the comments below. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I read every single comment. So let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing, as we are building an amazing community here. And I would absolutely love to see you part of it. At any of the other channels, you don't get any other engagement like you do here. They don't care about what you have to say. They say it all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter, but I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about, which is why I read every single comment. So please definitely do consider subscribing. And also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.